Do not be seduced into believing that righteousness is retreat from the world. Do not be seduced into believing that spirituality is defined by weakness and that timid caution for fear of committing potential error is your reason to be quiet. Do not be intimidated by vague, hazy threats of failure. Do not let yourself believe that faith is a license to irrationality. I'm going to say that again because it's good. Do not let yourself believe that faith is a license to irrationality. Do not mistake the simple nature of God's love for a justification for simple-mindedness. Do not deceive yourselves with the polite notion that you are above the fray, that your right to believe is sufficient to the cause of righteousness. There is no more stunning conceit. Do not pretend that your unwillingness to argue is the validation of truth. Know this: virtue in a vacuum is like the proverbial sound in the forest, irrelevant without a witness. Character is no private deed. Retreat is nothing more than a man closing his eyes and shutting his mouth to injustice. Virtues are not established. Virtues are not estimates to be lofted gently against evil. Virtues are not to be withheld from view in the name of grace. Virtues are not to be politely swallowed in humble realization that we are all just sinners. Love is not a moral blank check against the endless tide of indulgent action. Love is not blind to the cause and effect of reality. Love is not indifferent to plunder and injustice and servitude.
New Calvinism, because it fuses justification and sanctification together, has a complicated formula for what is works in sanctification and what isn't in works in sanctification, which determines whether or not you make, quote, sanctification the ground of your justification. But what they've done is created a complicated formula that determines what is works in sanctification and what isn't works in sanctification that might affect our justification. But my brothers and sisters, when the two are fused together, everything that we do in sanctification is a work, whether it's merely meditation, prayer, or doing jumping jacks. Okay? You got that on the screen? He's going, I'm sure you can't read that. I'll read it for you. He, that is Christ, is going to take our place. And his righteousness is going to count for me on the last day. And that will be my solid ground. I beg your pardon, but look at what he says here. It's this righteousness, his righteousness is going, future tense, to count for me. No, it isn't. It already counted for me. It's already a done deal. He's not going to take my place at some future judgment. He's already taken my place. His righteousness isn't going to be my solid ground in the future at the last day. It's already the solid ground of my justification. Am I the only one that sees a problem here?
Just don't move your head around a lot.
Okay.
Can you see, David?
Yeah.
All right.
I was born in 1952, the same year the infamous evangelist Billy Graham concentrated full-time on preaching. He helped to bind together a vulnerable nation through religious revival. Many believe that his success was directly related to the cultural climate of post-World War II America. He spoke out against communism. In 1954, Graham stated that either communism must die or Christianity must die, because it is a battle between Christ and Antichrist. With the advent of nuclear weapons and the demonstrated fragility of life, people turned to spirituality for comfort, and Graham illuminated their path. By glazing over the finer details of Christianity and focusing on more moderate doctrines, he made evangelism enticing, non-threatening, and easy to swallow, and in a lot of ways gave definition to easy believism. His mission to present the gospel, get people saved and on their way to heaven, permeated the focus of many fundamental churches thereafter, particularly the Southern Baptist Convention, with which Billy Graham is associated. As a result of the success of Billy Graham, many other evangelists and pastors adopted and adapted his mode of operation in order to bring in the sheaves. This is often referred to as the first gospel wave that swept over America in the 50s and continued on into the early 70s.